All right, Shalom, Call Halal, Yahweh, Ba Hashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba Hashem, Rekah Kwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, Shalom. Salute to the hopefully elect. So I got a story, right, that I want you brothers to hear. Fair use. I don't know, this is CBS morning show or whatever. So, but yeah, this is a situation done by this government, this so-called white government, Edomite ran country. This just one of many acts that they done to our people, particularly the southern tribe, as well as the northern tribe, because I believe in California, a lot of Gadites were reclassified as Negro. A lot of Reuben and Gad, especially Gad, were reclassified as Negro. So you got a lot of Gadites, you know what I mean, that is reclassified as Negro. And, you know, back then, Native Americans, or even, I'll say he could have been Southern tribe as well. They, after slavery, our people worked hard, and some had money and invested and bought land and all that. You know, this happened in 1912, and the government took this Jake's property, and now they're trying to return it after 100 years. But look at the atrocity of what you done to our people. You still got to pay. See, it's these folks. They're trying to clean up their act. You know. Now I know a lot of Jake's talking about reparations, but this man, he got to pay. He's going to pay the hefty price. You know. So the little things you do, it still don't add up to the amount of atrocities you have done to our people. You know, so let's go ahead and play this story. It's mind blowing because this property was worth $100 million. It's a lot of things they did, man. Jake, from Tulsa, Oklahoma, to many other, and that was just one. That was just one act. All throughout the turn of the century, when Jake was coming out of slavery, you had Jake working, getting wealthy, and Jake was putting his money in at banks, and it ended up stolen. All the money ended up stolen. So, if they want to complain about how Negroes are, they the one that caused it. You know, they'll quickly say Chicago and all that, but look, when black folks were productive, and look what you did to them. So you actually got the people that you caused. You got the people that here it is, you did it all in your might to separate the families and take the fathers out the house. And you don't think that is nothing going to happen after that? Like, here it is, you did all your might to destroy your people. And then the after product, you look at it like you ain't do nothing. But you the main one that caused the problem. You know, then you got a nerve to complain about these niggas. You created these niggas. You the one that created these bugged out niggas running around shooting and things like that. You literally created it, and then got the nerve to say, "Oh, look at these niggas." You did it. You the ones that put the drugs in the communities. You the ones that forced the fathers out the house. You did it. You took the wealth out of the black community. And then you look at the byproduct and got a nerve to complain about the byproduct when you caused it. So it's just mind-blowing how delusional the average white folks is. But the average white, they don't know no history anyway. But they just so delusional, it's ridiculous. So let's go ahead and play this video.
Grappling with a very complicated racial history. Nearly 100 years ago, a black family owned a prosperous resort there, catering to people of color until the city used a legal tactic to seize their land and then just drive them out. As Carter Evans shows us, a plan is being unveiled today that could return the land to the family's descendants.
Manhattan Beach is a favorite for seeking a spot on the sand or a stroll on the Strand, where homes can sell for upwards of $20 million. But it looked a lot more like this in 1912 when Willa and Charles Bruce bought an Ocean View lot for around $1,200. They were among the city's first black landowners.
We had the bathhouse here and the dining hall.
Dwayne Shepard is the family historian. He says the LA County Lifeguard headquarters now stands where Willa built Bruce's Lodge. It became a popular destination for the black community when segregation kept them off most beaches.
So people weren't supposed to cross.
And then what gets me is you got a nerve, these white folks, these Edomites got a nerve to complain when Jake in their neighborhood or so. Here it is when we were segregated. It's like you can't leave us the hell alone. Like here it is, Jake was doing a thing, and then here you come in there. Here it is, your nosy ass, just like these cops butting in and getting in to Jake's business. You just can't leave Jake alone. And then you got a nerve to complain when things go down. You the one that's all up in our business. You the first one, here it is, when everybody's segregated, you the first one that want to drag your red ass over into Jake's business. And you only there to destroy because you're jealous of what Jake accomplished. You know? So Jake, for the most part, Jake is all right being left alone, you know? But soon as you see Jake doing something, here you come. Your red ass. And that's what happened in this situation. That's what happened in the majority of the situations. Here it is, they say they don't want to be around you, but you can't have it both ways. Here it is, they don't want to be around you, but then when they're not around you, here you come, nosing in Jake's business. So you're a fraud. You really can't live without us, to be honest.
This to go to the beach, they had to walk a half mile in either direction before they could get into the water.
Barricades were built, tires were slashed, and one real estate agent even admitted he was trying to end the, quote, Negro invasion.
It was
straight hating, straight player hating, straight hater. And then you think you ain't gonna pay for this? Man, wait till Jake get you your red ass in the kingdom, man. Straight hating, as they would call it. Straight player hating.
chapter of the Ku Klux Klan. They started harassing my family around 1920. They burned a cross. They threw burning mattresses under the porch of one of the buildings.
Well, here were some black lives, and they didn't matter 100 years ago, but I think they matter now.
The resort was right here.
It was right here.
LA County Supervisor Janice Hahn first learned what the Bruces endured when the Black Lives Matter movement sparked conversations about racism and income inequities.
I never knew that we had a story right here in Manhattan Beach of an African-American family that literally had their properties stolen from them.
City leader.
Yeah, so that's exactly why Jake is in some Jake families in low. You literally cause the wealth gap. But then you got people like, what's that clown, Richard Spencer, and those white supremacists talking about, most black people are on welfare. And welfare? Let me tell you this. If you know anything about history and anything about politics, the majority of welfare recipients are white people. And that's facts. But then you'll have some white supremacists talking about Chicago, there's Chicago. You know what I mean? Like, but when black people are doing good, here you come, slashing tires and being jealous and hating, you know? So you can't live with us and you can't live without us. And that hate goes all the way back to Jacob and Esau. it's always a biblical. Man, this is all spiritual. This is all a spiritual battle, and that's what we're trying to tell you when we out there on the highways and byways, that Jake have enemies. You know, and if they did this back then, how much more you think they doing it now? You know, and they doing it now secretly by quote unquote not hiring you. Now, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of opportunities out there, but they still probably doing little. I know I'm myself, you know, went through certain things where you couldn't get jobs, and you know these devils just doing little sneaky stuff to hold you back, you know, little weird stuff. Like if you buy something and you get laid off or whatever, of course you can't finish paying on it because you done lost your job. So they do little sneaky stuff like that to Jake for him to stay in poverty like that. You know, being economically deprived. You know, they do little weird stuff like that to Jake. And they still doing it, you know?
Ultimately used eminent domain to shut down the Bruce's thriving business and make way for a park. It's a legal maneuver city and county leaders now confirm was racially motivated.
These people were terrorized and kicked out of a community where they were trying to live peacefully.
It really was an injustice to their whole family.
Generations.
Generations who surely would have been millionaires today if that beachfront property had remained in the family.
Over the
Oh yeah, but you got probably some of their descendants probably living in the hood, you know. But that goes all the way back to what we always bring up through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. We under those curses, you know, and Jake had to endure that, you know, and it all goes back to because we could connect every situation that happened to us in this country. The Lord is controlling everything ultimately, you know. So Esau, his little tactics, he's able to do that because what? Goes back to Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. So that's why they're able to do little weird, hating, lame stuff like that. To hold you Jake's back. In a country that was owned by originally the Native Americans. But what did they do to get this country? They stole it just like how they stole this land right here. You know, they ain't just straight up buy the land or, you know, whatever. They just used it through their tactics, through their little weird sneaky tactics to get the land.
last century, the city has grown and prospered, but it ruled out reparations to the family for lost income.
That would be considered an illegal gift of public funds.
Manhattan Beach Mayor Suzanne Hadley says the council did authorize spending $350,000 on art to commemorate the family, and this week voted to acknowledge and condemn what happened, but chose not to offer an official apology.
It's awful. It's wrong. We're not that community now. I wouldn't live here if we were a racist community, and my friends and neighbors would not live here as well.
Last month, a group calling itself Concerned Citizens of Manhattan Beach even took out an ad in a local paper claiming some are trying to create a racist problem where there is none. Do you think Manhattan Beach is a racist community?
So we are less than 1% African American. That defines racism to me.
For some 20 years, Melissa Clinton raised her kids in Manhattan Beach. Back in 2015, at 2 a.m, someone threw a burning tire at the family's front door. They escaped unhurt, but the trauma remains.
What it reminded me is that things haven't changed that much. That terror is still real. People who look like me are terrorized. We aren't entitled to the comfort of security.
Her neighbors rallied around her, so the family stayed, but Clinton wonders what the city would look like today if Bruce's Beach had not been shut down.
this community might be teeming with Black folks if we had not destroyed that family. It changed the trajectory, not only of their lives and their offsprings, but of this community.
To help usher in change, Supervisor Hahn teamed up with state legislators to propose giving the property back to the Bruce's descendants. The county would then lease the land back from the Bruces, creating income for the family.
I think it's a moment for Manhattan Beach. I think it's a moment for LA County that we could maybe be a model for the rest of the country.
Did you ever think about what Willa and Charles would have thought of all this?
Oh, they would have loved it. I'm sure they're proud of us right now for fighting to get that back.
All right, so that's the story. I guess let's get revelations. It says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. Revelations 13:9, going on verse 10, it says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. And they will get, these devils, they're going to receive everything that they dished out for the past couple hundreds of years. Jake, when Jake is left alone, he thrives. But this is a perfect example, and this is just one incident. Imagine how much property that was taken from Jake. I was looking on a website, and I found out that my descendants had some land. Because back then, if you go like about 100 to 140 years back, some of your, if you got descendants in this country, you'll see that some of them were marked as farmers. So Jake, for the most part, you had a lot of Jake living in the countryside, instead of the city. You had Jake in the city as well, but you had Jake on the countryside. So I don't know whether they were still slaves or had that land, because after captivity, a lot of Jake had land, purchased land, was working. They were sharecroppers, and they took their little money and invested and bought land, because they already knew how to harvest the field, and because they were out there already. So it wasn't nothing for them to know how to till the land and live off of the land. So a lot of, even myself, my descendants down with the Carolinas, they had land. And I found out that some of them, whether it was taken from them or they sold it, moved up north. Some of them went to Philadelphia. I got a whole bunch of uncles from the South and all that. They moved to Philly, New York, and Baltimore, Virginia, and so on and so on. But this is one of the many cases that happen that the retribution will come. The Lord sees everything, But I just wanted to play that story. I was just, I wasn't surprised, but I was just, it's just wild with these that was there to accumulate wealth. They didn't do it the right way. They didn't do it like now. They'll say, you do this and you do that, and you can get wealthy, and you can do this, and you should. Ain't none of them do it. Ain't none of them do it how they claim they got it. They got it through deceit. And a lot of these devils, they're not smart. They're just real. I don't know if you want to look at that as smart, but they're real crafty. So I guess you could say it's smart. It's in a demonic way, a devilish way, But, I just wanted to bring that story to the forefront. I hope this was edifying to the body. Till again, shalom.